Hey guys, it's Tamara here with my week 14 post.vsg update, and I suck at life and I suck at YouTube and I haven't made a video in a long time. And what's crazy is I made these notes last week and was, all prepared to make a video and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't made a video in 2 weeks. Let me tell you what's been going on. And then I never made a video. And what happened is I had my kids home last week, and it was just a weird, busy week at work. And so I didn't make videos. I didn't make a video during lunch, and then by the time I got home or off of work, it was dark, so I really couldn't do it in the car, and then my kids were home, and I'm just not at a place where I can be like, I'm gonna be in my room and doing this or whatever. And then, I struggle because I like to do natural light. I don't like to be under harsh lights, whatever. So it's been a long fucking time since I've updated you. I think the last video I made was the 18th. So let me quickly tell you some stats. So on the 25th, I'm gonna go back 3 weeks. I know that's crazy. So the last time I came to you was the 18th of November, and I weighed 220 on the dot. On 11/25, which was a week later, I was at 216.4 for a loss of 3.6 pounds for that week. And then the next week, which was last week, on the 2nd of December, I was at 217.8. So I gained 1.4 pounds over the Thanksgiving holiday. And more about that to come. And then today I weighed in at 212.6, so a loss of 5.2 pounds for the week. So in 3 weeks, I went from 220 to 212.6, which is like 7.4 pounds or something. So collectively, I'm happy with that. Let me just look at my notes really quick, blah, 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 blah. So I've just been really busy. My dad came up for Thanksgiving, which was really nice because he moved out of Alaska a couple years ago. And obviously I don't get to see him as much as I would like, as traveling in and out of Alaska is time consuming and expensive. So I've been to see him a couple times. This is the first time he's been back since he moved away. And it was just easier for him to come, easier and more affordable for him to come here than for us to go there. So he came up just for a few days. We didn't really do anything except for hang out and spend time together. And that's exactly what we needed. And during that weekend, the whole time he was here, I kind of allowed myself to just take a break from the whole thing. I was not thinking about food at all, really. I wasn't, for Thanksgiving, I didn't make any special sides for myself. I just had, everything in moderation. I just had a little bit of everything that I would normally have, and that works for me. I know that's not how everybody approaches things like Thanksgiving, but that's what is working for me for right now. Will I approach it differently later on? Maybe, I don't know, but like I said, just over those days, I felt kind of normal, which is great and scary at the same time. But I wasn't overly concerned about what I was eating or anything like that. And thusly, I gained some weight. I also drank more than I normally would because I haven't really taken up drinking since surgery. I have a couple times, I know I've told you, but there was definitely more drinking over that weekend, and we were heavily into hot buttered rums, which I had never had before. And my dad's now got my boyfriend hooked on hot buttered rums. So that's kind of part of what scares me, is I feel very normal in being able to indulge in things like that. And it's like when my boyfriend goes to have one and he asks me if I want one too, it's so easy to say yeah, in this cold ass weather, yeah, and we're going to gonna go upstairs, watch TV in bed, then I want something hot to sip on. And so last night actually was the first night that I didn't, not the first night, but last night I didn't have one when he was having one, and I had a hot chocolate instead. And do I need that hot chocolate? Absolutely not. And I actually mentioned, I was like, we should get some sugar-free hot chocolate so that I could have that instead of just the regular stuff. Although I do sort of believe that sugar substitutes can make you crave sugar. But that's another conversation for another time. So just collectively, I've been super busy, which is why I haven't made a video, and I just haven't made a point of making the time to do it. And it's 4:15 right now, and it's dark. I mean, the sun's gone down. It's not dark yet, but this is not cute. Anyways, Thanksgiving went off plan, but I just wasn't thinking about a goddamn thing, and I really fucking enjoyed myself, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm not super hard on myself. Like, I remember watching Lauren Lusing's video from last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was her first Thanksgiving, where she went to Thanksgiving and came back and made a video and was really upset with herself over the things that she had eaten. And I just don't feel that way. I don't like to be too strict with myself, and I think that that's just what's working for me right now. The only thing that worries me about it is I do understand that I'm kind of in this honeymoon phase, and that things are going to get harder the farther out I get, and I understand that, you know, I should be developing really good habits right now while things are easy, so that I can continue to lose weight or maintain whatever weight I'm able to lose after the honeymoon period is over. I'm fully aware of all of that. I don't want to say I'm not worried about it, but it is what it is. And I know they say that all the time, but I try not to overthink things. So yeah, a couple of struggles that I want to talk about is I was constipated for a while, and I didn't really realize that I was. I'm usually very normal, and I didn't even realize that I wasn't having daily BMs. And then I would have very hard, very painful BMs, and I know I've mentioned that I have really short memory when it comes to bad things, and the same was true when I was having those hard, painful movements. That it would be like hard and painful, and then I'm like squirrel, you know, and I get so distracted, and it's like so easy for me to not think about that this is like now an ongoing thing, where in the past week I've had 3 really hard, painful bowel movements, and obviously something needs to change. So by the time I finally figured it out and was like, oh, hey, genius, this seems to be a trend, I took Miralax for 2-3 days. I ran out, so it was like 2 full doses and then like a half to 3/4 of a dose, and then I stopped. And my doctor really doesn't want his patients to be relying on stool softeners, so it's just not something that I've ever worked into my routine. And so I just took that for a couple of days, and you know, the hard, painful situation resolved, and I was kind of back to a daily thing. It was just, it was almost like I just needed to kind of press reset, even though I don't think taking a stool softener for 3 days really is a reset, but whatever, it helped. And then that was maybe a week and a half ago, and I realize now that I'm kind of back to not having daily movements, and I haven't had anything painful or anything like that. But so I'm definitely not getting enough water in consistently on like a daily basis. Something that I for sure know is true is that I do much better getting my water in when I'm at work, because I don't want to say I'm just sitting at my desk, but I'm sitting at my desk with my water next to me all day, and I make a point of drinking it all day. And when I'm at home, I do not make a point of like getting a water bottle and, you know, having it with me wherever I am. And I just can like go the evening without drinking anything. And so especially on a 4-day weekend like we had over Thanksgiving, those 4 consecutive days of not getting in enough water, or as much as I normally would when I go to work, you know, it becomes more of a big thing when it's not just the 2 days that I normally have off. Blah, blah, blah. Not getting enough water. I also know that I don't think I'm getting enough fat in my diet. So something I do is I'm still using protein supplements. You know, protein shakes, 1 or usually 2 a day, because I do my Click Shake, and then I'll usually have Premier Protein during my work day. And so depending on like what I've eaten, once I've hit like 70 to 80 grams of protein, I'm like satisfied with what I've done protein wise, and I kind of give myself free reign, especially if I do that during the work day. Then I give myself kind of free reign to have whatever for dinner. So if I'm making dinner for my family, then I'll, you know, usually just have a little bit of whatever I'm making for them. And if I've met my protein goal for the day, then my eat whatever is just like me giving myself free reign to eat carbs. And so I'm doing all these protein supplements, which, you know, have no fat in them. And that's not all I'm eating during the day, but that is, you know, a good portion of what I'm eating during the day. And then at night, my treat is to go have carbs. And so nowhere in there on like a normal work day am I getting a good source of fat, or even a bad source of fat. I just generally don't gravitate towards fatty things. So it's something I'm aware of. I think that could also be playing a role in the constipation issue. I don't claim to be an expert in any of this shit, guys. And if you want to yell at me and tell me I'm doing something wrong, please do. I lied, don't. If you want to be nice and tell me I'm doing something wrong, please do. But if you just want to yell and be a batch, then you can keep that shit to yourself, okay? So another struggle I'm having, I had mentioned a few videos ago that I was struggling with vomiting food, and that I wasn't sure, was I eating too fast, or was I eating too much, or was I eating too late at night, or, you know, there was all these things that I thought it could have been attributed to. And then I went weeks without vomiting. And then here just recently, I vomited a couple of times again. And one of the times it was at work, and I was eating leftovers of what I had eaten the night before. So I ate it in the evening, and everything was fine. And then I ate it for lunch the next day. And there was nothing that I could attribute it to, like eating too fast or eating too much or drinking when I was eating, because I didn't do any of those things. I heated up you know, this container of food that I brought to work. I ate about half of it, and I just felt really sick, and I vomited it up. So I did not eat too much. I was not eating fast. I did not have one sip of water the entire time I was drinking, and I vomited. And I knew it wasn't the food itself, because I had eaten it the night before. And so I've kind of thought back to not every time when I get sick, it's usually eating leftovers. And is that a thing? Do people get sick from eating leftovers? And I don't know if it's like using the microwave, if that's like changing the density of the meat. Is this a thing? Am I crazy? And so, and it's not like every time I eat leftovers I get sick, but every time I've gotten sick, I've been eating leftovers. So I don't really know what to do with that information. And then here recently, I got sick a couple of times, a few days in a row, because I went to the dentist and I had some work done on the back of my front teeth, and they didn't file it down enough. So I wasn't able to chew meat properly, and it took a few days for me to get back in to get them to fix it. And so I kept trying to eat, and I was getting sick, and then I was trying to manage this leftover conundrum in my brain. And then I realized that I think, you know, just not being able to chew the meat enough was probably contributing to it. So let me know if anybody, I've watched a shit ton of YouTube videos, and I do not recall anybody ever talking about having an aversion to leftovers. So if anybody's aware of anybody having that, or if any of you yourself have experienced that, please let me know. one major NSV that I've had over the last couple weeks is I scheduled a photographer to take pictures of me and my family. And I've never had professional photography done like since my senior year in high school when I had senior pictures taken. So this is a big deal for me for multiple reasons. So like we're going to do a Christmas card and like send pictures out to grandparents and all of that. And I think the reason why I've never thought to do this before is a couple things. One is that like maybe I never really thought of us as a real family, and as silly as that sounds, my boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years now, and but like he's my boyfriend and our kids are his kids, so it's like I'm their dad's girlfriend. So it's, and they're not with us all the time, they're with us 50% of the time. So I think in my mind and in other, just in general, it's easy to think of us not really as a real family. And I'm gonna fucking throw that school of thought out the window and down the drain, and because we are a real family and I love those fucking kids. As crazy as they drive me, those are my mofos right there. And so when I stopped to think about, you know, why had I never done that before, that was a thought that came up, and it, you know, it makes me sad, but I'm happy that we're at where we're at now. So I thought maybe it's because I never really thought of us as a family. Like maybe I never scheduled a family picture because are we really a family? The answer is fucking yes, we are. Another reason why I think maybe I never really thought to do that is I'm really not that organized. I'm also not like artsy fartsy, or like I'm not on Pinterest or like doing cute stuff like fucking Christmas cards and shit. Like that's just not me. So it's just not something that really I ever thought about until I started getting the cute Christmas cards and shit from my friends who had professional photography taken and then put together a cute little card. So that's really not me. And then I have to attribute a portion of never wanting to have my picture taken, or never thinking to do that, of like not wanting to have my picture taken and not wanting to be in a picture looking like a fucking T-Rex with my boyfriend and the kids, who are all very normal sized. So we had pictures taken. I scheduled it. You know, we did family pictures and the kids by themselves and me and my boyfriend, and I just got the proofs back. And I love them, and I feel like I look super normal. And am I perfectly happy with the way my body looks in the pictures? No. Do I ever feel like I'm ever going to be 100% with my body? No. But do I generally feel like we are just a normal looking family and I'm not sticking out like a sore thumb? Yes. And that makes me so happy. So that's been kind of the big thing that to me screams NSV. Yeah, makes me really happy. So I apologize that I suck so much at life and that I have let so much time pass between my last video and right now. I talked a lot about a lot of shit, and I gave you my numbers. I'm again not tracking. I need to be. Yeah. So I know this is probably so fucking long and I need to turn it off. Oh my god, it's upside down. What the fuck? So I love you guys, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.